Hi everyone, this video is part of Macquarie University's coding tutorials, and today we'll be talking about using the command line to run a Java program. By the end of this video, you'll also have an understanding of how Java programs execute. It's okay if you've never used the command line or don't know what it is, because in this video we'll explain the knowledge you need to use it for running Java programs. In our first video, we created a sample program. You may remember I was using something called Eclipse, and I told you it was an integrated development environment, or IDE for short. An IDE has a lot of tools that can help make it easier for us to create and run programs, but we can also just run programs from the command line. This also gives us a better understanding of what is happening in the background. Before we begin, let's first check if we have Java installed in our system. To do this, we'll jump into using the command line. On a Mac, open the terminal application. If you're on a Windows machine, open Command Prompt or PowerShell. To check the version of Java that is installed, type java-version and press enter. Here we see the version of Java that is installed on the system. If it appears you do not have Java installed, please go back to video 2 and follow the steps mentioned there for Java installation. Next, let's create a Java source code file. In this tutorial, we'll be using the same program from video 1 that prints hello there to the screen. If you'd like a refresher of how it works, please pause this video and rewatch the second half of video 1. In summary, this is a simple Java program that contains a single class called hello with a main method. The main method is the entry point for the program and is where the program begins execution. We need to save the file with the name of the class, hello.java, adding the Java extension so it is clear it is Java source code. For the purposes of this video, I'd recommend saving it on your desktop so it's easy to get to on the command line. Now that we have our Java source code file and a basic understanding of the execution process, let's execute the program from the command line. Let's go back to our terminal, Command Prompt or PowerShell, and navigate to the directory where the hello.java file is located. We can use the cd command to change directories. In this case, we type cd desktop, and we can see we're in our desktop directory. Once we're in the correct directory, we can compile the hello.java file using the javac command. We always need to compile the source code file before it can be run. Type the command javac hello.java and press enter. If the compilation was successful, we can see a new file in the directory called hello.class. This is the bytecode file, and it was created by the javac compiler. To execute the program, we now type java hello and hit enter. We can see the output hello there printed in the command line. Notice the difference between when we compiled and when we ran the now compiled program. When compiling, we use the javac command and type out the whole source code file name including the Java extension. When running the program, we use the Java command without the C and only typed out the name of our class. Now that we've executed the program, let's take a quick look at this diagram to understand how Java programs execute. The Java source code is written in a text file with the .java extension and is saved on the computer. This is the file we made and we call it human readable. The source code is then compiled using the javac compiler and a .class file is created. We got to this step before by using the javac command. The javac compiler converts the source code into a form called bytecode. The bytecode is a lower level code that can be understood by the Java Virtual Machine, or JVM for short. Finally, the JVM executes the bytecode, which results in the program being run. At this point, you can move on with the content and skip to the next video, but we thought it would be worthwhile explaining how the args parameter works for anyone who is curious. In the first video of the series, we talked about how this parameter, args, is of type string array. So a program can take in an array of strings that can be passed to the program when it is executed. For example, let's say we wanted to pass in a list of names to say hello to in our program. We could update the main function to have a loop and go through the args array greeting each name. Then when we run the program from the command line, we can pass in the names to be stored in the args parameter and use that parameter in a print statement. Let's modify our code so it works this way. First, let's remove the exclamation mark from the greeting so we can slot in the names we pass in before the exclamation mark. You'll see how this works once we implement the loop. Then we'll create a for loop, just as we've done in processing before, where we use a variable called I to give us the current index of the array. We start I at 0 with I is equal to 0, have I stop at the end of the array using args.length, and increment it by 1. If you need a refresher on loops, please pause this video and revisit the video on loops in the COMP1010 video series. Inside the loop, we'll change our print statement so that it uses args of I and puts the exclamation mark back in at the end. We write system.out.println greeting plus quotations with a space, plus args of I, plus quotations with an exclamation mark. Noting that the quotations with a space is putting a space between our greeting and the name that we've passed in. Then we need to save the file. It's important to remember that anytime we make changes to the file, we have to recompile it before running. Let's recompile the file with the javac command, typing javac hello.java. We now want to run the program, but we need to make sure to add the names we want to pass in. We do this by writing java hello, and then before pressing enter, we also write the names. Let's say we want to say hi to Anita, Bella, Chin, Dai, and Eli. Let's now press enter, and we get the output we want. Inside the program, the words we type after hello have all been stored as separate strings within the args array, and we created a loop in the source code to go through each one. For the purpose of this course, we'll be spending a lot more time building and running programs in an IDE and not using the command line, but learning the mechanics in the background is a good way to solidify your understanding. In the next video, we'll jump straight into downloading and installing our IDE. See you there!